Hi everyone, it's Jo Carter. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you the Booktube Newbie Tag. I originally discovered the Booktube Newbie 2.0 tag on Capricious Helen's account, but then I went and saw the actual first Booktube Newbie tag on Aisha's channel, both of which I'll link down in the description bar. As well as everybody else who's done this tag, I thought it would be a fun and interesting way to introduce myself a bit more into the community. This is going to be my 10th video, but I'm still definitely a Booktube newbie, and I hope that you guys can learn a bit more about me through this and comment if anything's the same or you feel like talking to me about something, and we'll start to get to know each other. And certainly let me know if you've done this tag as well. Question 1. Why did you start this channel? I have two reasons why I decided to start this channel. The first main one was that I have a blog called writerjocarter.com, and it's all about the writing side of things. I'm wanting to publish my own novel one day, and as you have to do these days in social media, you've got to have a platform somewhere out there for a publisher to really even want to consider you or to have a chance at them considering you. And so I thought, instead of just having images and words that I've typed up, it might be fun to do some videos and, you know, I kind of went through a stage of getting annoyed at writing out book reviews, even though I still sometimes do it on Goodreads. And I thought this could be a quick way for me to actually get them out there and do reviews on books. It was only when I started researching it more that I discovered that uploading the video straight onto WordPress wasn't exactly a stable way of doing it, and it could be hard to load and a bit faulty. And then I decided to do a YouTube channel so that I could then upload the videos onto YouTube and then embed them into my blog. But now this is the 10th video and I still haven't done a post on my blog about that I've started Booktube, and here are some videos which I really need to do. Hopefully it's going to be one of my resolutions in the new year to actually do that. But I've found that I actually really enjoy doing Booktube a lot more than I thought I would, and so my website is actually suffering because of that. And the same reason, which is already coming true, is that I thought that it would be fun. I don't have a lot of people in my personal life who read as much as I do, or if I do, I don't see them often. And I just thought it would be fun to get my thoughts and feelings out about books, maybe make some friends and communicate about different things that we're reading, get some recommendations one day when I finish my to be read pile. And I just thought it would be a really fun way to chat about some books and release some of my feelings, because I am one of those people that definitely has a lot to say about a book if I've either loved it or hated it. Question 2 is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? This is a bit of a hard question. I was trying to rack my brain from it where I was watching Aisha's video, which again is in the description bar below. And the only thing that I could really come up with is that hopefully I'll be reading a different variety of books, because I have this giant to be read pile of 100 plus books, and a lot of them aren't common knowledge to what I've seen some of the big booktubers watch. So I think it could be quite interesting to show readers a variety of stuff, also mixed in with some mainstream things. Question 3, what are you most excited about for this new channel? Probably trying to make some relationships and talk to some other people in the community that have read amazing books, and we can start recommending things and just making those kinds of friendships with people who really love reading as well. But also I think it's a different way to analyze how I'm reading. I'm already starting to see that I'm getting a bit sort of competitive with myself, trying to read at least 3 books a month. So when I do my wrap-ups, which I'll be changing soon because I don't like that attitude, but just really thinking about what to say and what it was that I didn't like a book or what it was that I liked about a book. And yeah, thinking about reading in a different way, and especially doing sort of prompts that I hope I can start to do, like Sam on Thoughts and Tomes does the Top 5 Wednesday. And I think doing those kinds of things really makes you think about characters and how the book made you feel and who was your favourite and why. And I just really like that in-depth way that it causes you to actually think about your reading as well as enjoying it. Question 4, why do you love reading? Well, I love reading because it's fun, because there is no feeling like that of a good book, of being sucked into that world but not having to leave anyone. I love getting to do all these exciting things and living all these different lives, meeting all these, most of the time, interesting people. Of course, it can be really hard when you're going through such a mediocre reading slump where you're reading sort of crappy book after crappy book, but once you get those amazing books, it is all worth it because it is so good. I love being to experience firsts for the first time again, like, you know, romances, or even firsts that you would never actually have experienced otherwise. In the case of fantasy, like magic and all these amazing journeys that you get to go on. It's just so good. I have such an imagination in my head, and I just, yeah, I love it. I love it to pieces. I don't think I will ever stop reading because it is so good. It's like a drug. It's addictive, and I just can't wait to see where the next book takes me. Question 5. What book or series got you into reading? I've sort of been reading nearly my whole life. My mum loves to read, and so I think she was always making sure that we were reading at a young age, and definitely in my school over in Australia they do such an emphasis on reading. In primary school we used to have to read for, I think it was 15 minutes every night, and you'd have to do it with a parent and sign off on it. So I was definitely always reading, but I think the book that really made it take off for me is such a cliche for everybody, but I don't even care because I loved it so much. But it was Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. It's what made reading explode for me, particularly with the young adult and fantasy realm. Like before Twilight, I was kind of like, yeah, I like reading. It's something that I'll probably continue to do, but I wasn't actively looking to pick it up all the time. But as soon as I read Twilight, fell in love with it, I just wanted more and more and more and more of that kind of thing. I started buying lots of books myself, reading all the time in the mornings, afternoons, on the bus to school, and it just made my world explode because I just didn't know that reading could be that good until I read Twilight, which for me it was that good. Like the romance, I don't care if you didn't like it, a lot of people did, and it was just addictive, and that is what really made it explode. And I'm not ashamed of that because if it wasn't for that series, I don't think I would be where I am today in terms of reading and writing goals. Question 6 is, what questions would you ask your favourite booktubers? This is a bit of a hard one as well. I don't particularly feel like I have any questions I want to ask. So my 2 favourite booktubers is Sam from Thoughts on Tones and Helen from Capricious Helen. I'm not sure who's my favourite because I love them both. They're so interesting to watch and listen to talk about books. They have such strong opinions, and they have good opinions on books. I think they are very healthy in their perspectives, particularly in regards to relationships, because I love romance. I can kind of just glaze over the bad parts of romances, like, you know, when reading 50 Shades of Grey, I can kind of glaze over that and just go, oh, but the romance is good. But they've actually made me stop and go, well, hang on. If you really care about the world and hate the fact that there is domestic violence in it and you would like to change that, you need to start changing your own attitude about that. And I really love the fact that they have stood up and sort of made me think about not just enjoyment but what I'm reading and whether it should be enjoyable, but whether I can still appreciate some parts of it, but then kind of go, well, this is really shitty, and instead of just talking about the good part, also talking about the shitty part as well, and going, well, that's not how it should be, particularly in regards to relationships. So I don't really have anything that I would like to ask them or anything, more just thank you for having your amazing channels. I don't know, the only thing I could possibly ask is why are they so amazing, but I guess that's only something me as a viewer can answer. Just thanks guys for having such great content to read. I know Helen's having a bit of a hard time because she's gone to uni and she can't film as much, but I really appreciate, and as soon as like their videos go upline, I'm like on there watching because I just love it, love their opinions. Question 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? So I'm frowning and I'm the sentence doesn't make sense to me, but it's basically what challenges do you think are going to be the hardest to overcome when starting a booktube channel? I would say probably peer pressure. Would it be peer pressure? No, not peer pressure. It's more, I guess, anxiety in regards to people seeing your channel and worrying about what they're going to think and whether they're going to find it, and maybe the bully at school will see it and taunt you, or a mean older sibling, or in my case everybody in my life is lovely. I've left school. I'm not in like a school or uni sort of scenario where I'm like, oh, I'm so scared that someone's going to find it. Wouldn't particularly want people at work to see this. Sorry guys if you're watching it. It's nothing personal. I get a bit embarrassed when people are watching it when I'm around. I don't mind talking about it, but it's like, if you're going to watch my videos, can you please just tell me so I can leave the room? Even though I kind of enjoy watching my own videos myself. But I think that's probably the biggest barrier, is just getting the confidence to come and sit in front of the camera and do this. And I think a lot of that is the thought of what people are going to say when they see it. And that's going to be something that you've just got to decide for yourself whether it's worth it or not. I know for me, I can chat away to the camera like it's another person, because I actually started doing voice records in the car towards work. So I put on a voice record, put my phone in my bag, start driving to work, and I just chat about books because I just needed that release and something to talk to. And so I've gotten quite good at talking to inanimate objects. And this is the second one, being the camera here, and then I get to pop it online and everybody can see. But yeah, I definitely think that is the hardest thing to overcome. Another one that could be really hard, is particularly if you've been watching Booktube for a while, is thinking that you're not good enough for it. That you're, you know, say in my case, I always worry that my lighting isn't going to be good, or a little bit that I don't wear makeup and stuff like that. And there's so like beautiful inside and out Booktube people that have gorgeous shelves and lighting and everything. But then you've got to think, if you're watching their channel, they're probably a fair way into it. Like if you're watching someone who's so popular and so famous on Booktube, they've probably already done like hundreds and hundreds of videos that they had time to practice how they were saying things, how they were looking, what their style was, organising their shelves, getting their lighting and their camera and their sound done. That, hey, you're only starting at the beginning, so don't worry too much about it. Take it from me, someone who doesn't have the best technology. I'm using a camera that is more taken for stills, and so sometimes if I'm too animated, it freaks out. I also have a light that is like stuck to my dining room chair right now, projecting onto my shelves because I don't have a lot of natural light in this room. And my editing program is also the free iMovie on Macs. So it doesn't matter where you're starting, just give it a go. That way you know if you're invested or not. If you decide that you'd like to spend a lot more money on it down the track because it makes you happy and you just want to do that, then that's fine. If not, it doesn't matter. It's your channel. It can be whatever it is, and whatever's good enough for you is good enough. I did a video on my dressing gown, and some of my family members were like, why are you doing it in your dressing gown? People can see you. And I'm like, I know, but I go to the supermarket in my pajamas. I don't give a crap. I'm going to be who I am. And that's all you have to do if you're wanting to start a channel and you don't know whether you'll be good enough. Yourself is good enough. Question 8, when did you start reading? So like I've said in a previous one about what book or series got you into reading, I've pretty much been reading my whole life. My whole primary school in Australia is all, you have to read, it's part of the requirements, so you've been reading forever. It was probably about maybe when I was 15 that I picked up Twilight and I actually actively wanted to read for myself, not because I had to have a book and roll call to read in the morning. So that was probably when it all took off. But even before that, I was reading horse novels. I was a very, very horsey kid, so I was reading like Sailor Club and these thoroughbred novels about horse racing. I was reading like Trixie Belden, and I'm sure I've read Enid Blyton. I read a few Harry Potters with Mum, just a bit of everything. But I was reading from a young age because that's just the way that the world is like in Australia. They encourage reading, and I just continued it when I got to Twilight at age 15 because it was just amazing. And I just wanted to keep reading. But I've always been in a fairly bookish family. My dad's a bit fussy with what he likes to read, but he does enjoy reading a good book. My mum likes to read all the time. My older sister likes reading. My younger sister not as much, but she's like 4 years younger than me. So when I was growing up, we were all reading. And she does read as well. Hunger Games right now and is really liking it. But yeah, I don't really think that I had an age that I started reading. I've just always read and I've always sort of enjoyed it. There's a picture of me as a kid in year 5, which was 11. We went on this big trip around Australia and I used to collect the Harry Potter books, and there's a picture of me sitting in front of Uluru with Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which is like 1,000 or 800 page book, and I was an 11-year-old. So I've always been reading. Question 9. Where do you read? I mostly read in the lounge room right now. I've gone through phases. So in school, I used to read on the bus. When I was at work for the first time, I would read at lunch and in the morning while I'm having my breakfast. Right now, because I chat on my lunch break with my colleagues, I read in the morning and then I try to read at night. So I try to read every morning while I'm eating my breakfast, and then I also try to read every evening in bed at about 9 o'clock or 9:30 and just finish off the day. Start and finish the day like that, and it just makes me happy. And finally, question 10. Sorry if I've been burbling, but this has been fun. What books do you like to read? I like lots of different genres. I will guarantee you that I'll give nearly any genre a go because you just don't know whether it's going to be good or not. I read a lot more fiction than I do non-fiction. It has to be a good non-fiction for me to be invested in it. But in terms of fiction, right now probably my favourite newly discovered genres are, I really like historical romance. So I love romance and I really like historical romance. I've started to read Outlander, but I've also read another Scottish one called the Dalriada trilogy, which had romance. I loved it. I think I enjoy New Adult, but I've only read one series in New Adult, so I'm not sure, but I freaking love that book. Love that series. And another one that I've just discovered that I really like reading is like crime and murder mystery kind of novels, like that kind of genre. And I've only read a few of those, but I'm like super keen. I really like them. They're always like so much fun. But I also I really like young adult as well, and fantasy of course. But those are my sort of new genres that I'm kind of like discovering and enjoying. So that's it. 10 questions in the Booktube Newbie Tag. So I'm not going to tag anybody, but do it if you want. Like I said, let me know in the comments. If you've done it, so that I can see and meet some new friends, and can chat and stuff like that and get to know each other. And yeah, this has been a lot of fun, and I will see you guys in my next video, and it's probably actually 2018 by the time that you see this. So if it is, Happy New Year. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.